Hello, welcome back. It's me, Xpsupernova, and today I'm going to be beating Pizza Tower with as few Mach runs as possible. Now, it's very simple to define what a Mach run is, for me at least. If I press the shift button or hold it, then that's a Mach run. Now, how am I going to actually be counting Mach runs exactly? Because that is a little bit more complicated. So first of all, if I hold the Mach run button, I could do this throughout the entire game. So I could just go anywhere I wanted, and that would be pretty simple. And I could enter any door I wanted, I'd never have to let go of the button. And that'd just be very, very boring. So instead, if I transfer to a different room, that would be an extra Mach run. And that's pretty simple, honestly. And that's essentially it. There is one exception to the holding shift button I'll get into a little bit later, because it's clearly not a Mach run. But I'll get into that a little bit later. But for now, let's get into the challenge now, shall we? Also, I suppose now would be a good time to get into the movement of the challenge, I suppose. Grab dashing is our preferred form of movement, because it makes us go pretty fast, and it doesn't slow us down when we hit a wall. Whereas grab sliding is good for long areas, but it also makes us just run into walls in the end. I can also grab slide anywhere I want, or I could just do this. Actually, that just ends up in a grab slide. You can't really roll at all, unfortunately, which would be a really good form of movement, which we can only do on Mach dash panels, unfortunately, which aren't really going to be super useful for the most of the challenge, unless you're going for lap 2 sometimes. But there are some niche instances where they are kind of useful. But anyways, this is the first room in the entire game where we're forced to Mach dash. There's literally no way to break these metal blocks as far as I'm concerned. Unfortunately. If there was a way, then that would remove almost every single Mach dash in this entire challenge. Also, for there, you want to just hold shift and not press right, because if you go too fast, you'll just end up screwing up. That was very close, because, yeah. Be kind of careful with how you use your Mach dash, because once you let go of it, it's done. Also, for right here, if I can get to a place as well, just saying, I have to make sure I can get to the place without a Mach dash. So, like, I shouldn't, like, just abuse the Mach dash just to, I don't know, get to places easier. For using it on a boost panel for speed, that's fine, but yeah. Also, this trick is kind of tricky, and it's probably the coolest way, but you can also just go up here, and then you can jump off at the right time, and do a spin dive, or whatever you want to call it, and get up here pretty easily. Or, you can just do this, which might take me a couple attempts, honestly. It's not that easy to pull off. You're not supposed to jump off of it, actually. There we go, that was a little bit tricky, honestly. Also, for right here, you also have to do a Mach run, unfortunately. But since we can get up here without a Mach run, we might as well do that. Which, I mean, it's a trick I've done many times before. I swear that it's not that difficult. Yeah, with that, we don't have to do any more Mach dashes for the tutorial, fortunately enough. And since there's literally zero issues elsewhere here, let's just move on to the next level, I suppose. Anyways, now on to John Gutter, which is probably the easiest level in this challenge. Almost, if it weren't for the fact there's one small little part that you can mess up on accident, but still, it's not a huge deal. Now, it starts off, unfortunately, with a Mach block that you have to break. I'm gonna just call the metal blocks Mach blocks, because I don't know. Yeah, you have to break one of these Mach blocks, unfortunately, right here. And since of my rule set, you can't actually just go through them and continue holding it, because that just makes the challenge uninteresting in the end. Yeah, there also happens to be another one right up here, unfortunately, that I have to break as well. There are a lot of Mach blocks I have to break throughout this entire challenge. And I mean a lot. I should have a counter down in the bottom right corner, hopefully. I don't know exactly what the symbol's gonna be yet, but it's gonna be something. Hopefully it's not too distracting. But yeah, we want to grab every top one we can as well, and we're also going for Jerome as well for a true ending. There also happens to be another Mach block right here. Now actually don't kill all of these enemies, and instead, uppercut right here, and then grab this enemy right here and then bounce off of him just to make this a little bit easier. It's still possible without the enemies, but it's way more annoying, so that's what I'd recommend. And then the rest of John Gutter up until pizza time is completely easy and there's nothing in the way. Also, pizza time brings us into a good talk about how time is actually not as much of an issue as you would think, surprisingly. At least in most levels. There are very few levels that time is actually an issue at all. In fact, I believe there's only one in the entire game that's actually an issue, so that's kind of nice. You could still go surprisingly fast with grab dashes. Sure, it's not as fast as a Mach run, but it's still pretty dang fast, not gonna lie. But you gotta be very quick with your movement still anyways. So try to avoid as many enemies as you can, because they will just slow you down. And also for the final Mach block right here that we have to break, yeah, there's an extra one right here. And then you can just beat the level as normal pretty much. Just minus running, I suppose. And with that, John Gutter is completed with 0 issues in the way. So anyways, let's move on to the next level, I suppose. Pizza Escape is actually easier than John Gutter, but like, that's not really setting a high bargain anyways, because, I mean, John Gutter is very easy assuming you don't mess up that one small trick. But unfortunately, there is a Mach block I have to break right here, and that's just kind of tragic, unfortunately. And also, there is one last Mach block right here that you have to break as well, which is kind of unfortunate, but it is how it is sometimes. There's not much you can do about those blocks. They're just going to be in the way no matter what. They're definitely the worst thing in this entire challenge, and add by far the most amount of Mach runs in this entire challenge. Also, as a side note, the Night Power-Up is actually able to break metal blocks, and it's also just pretty much easier just to go through the level as the Night Power-Up and not just do the little speedrun skip. It doesn't really do much, honestly, and you can get over here faster. Because weirdness. And also there's plenty of time as well. So yeah, with that, there's actually not much else to say here, because pizza time here is not strict at all, which is fortunate at least. So yeah, let's move on to the next level. Now, Ancient Cheese actually has a block right here that you have to break, but you can break it before or after, it doesn't really depend. You can do it before the key or after the key. It's not really like it matters at all. But yeah, anyways, we just grab this topping right here, and then, in order to break this metal block, you just gotta go over here and do it as normal. Which, unfortunately, is another Mach run that we have to do. Also, for Jerome right here, you actually want to make sure you bounce off of this pincer in order to get up here, because there's no other way to get up there besides maybe jumping off the top flap from there. Just something you should probably have noted there, because it is kind of important to get all the drones for this since we're going for true ending anyways. And this is the final part of the level that you have to Mach run in, unfortunately. But yeah, with that, you don't actually have to Mach run at all in the rest of the level. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Ancient Cheese, so let's move on to the next level, I suppose. Anyways, now on to Bloodsus Dungeon, a vertical level. Now, going down Bloodsus Dungeon is actually not that difficult, honestly, all things considered. Assuming I actually don't, like, you know, get hit by enemies a quadrillion times, which usually isn't an issue most of the time. Because when you're grabbing, you're basically gonna kill an enemy immediately when it gets near you. Except for, like, Pincers and Fork Knights, but just jump a little bit and you should be fine to kill them. Although then again, that's not really important to the challenge at all. But just something I can mention, I guess. Now, Bloodsus Dungeon actually does not have any Mach blocks in the first half of the game. Or I guess the level, not the game. The first half of the game has plenty of Mach blocks everywhere. It's not even till the second silhouette section that we actually have to worry about breaking Mach blocks, and unfortunately we have to break one right here, and then there's another one a bit further ahead that we have to break as well. It's kind of unfortunate, but you can't really prevent it too much, so that's an extra Mach dash right here, unfortunately. And this is unfortunately the second section where we have to Mach run, and it's going to add another 2 Mach runs to the entire counter. Since we're going to be doing a screen transition here anyways, we might as well grab that top in as well. So yeah, that's unfortunate. So that's 2 extra Mach dashes right here. But after that, there's not a single more Mach dash that we get anymore. But here's the thing, since Bloodsus Dungeon is a vertical level, we don't climb walls very fast. So we have to actually spam the button, but there's some weird techniques we can kind of use. I mean, we can do whatever the heck this is, and it moves you up somewhat faster. I don't even know what the heck it is either, honestly. I don't know if it's actually technically faster, but it's weirder, and it's so janky, it's kind of cool, honestly. I don't know. That's just how it is, I guess. Yeah, but with that out of the way, Bloodsus Dungeon really isn't that much of an issue, all things aside, so let's move on to the next one. Also, like my previous challenge, the bosses aren't really worth mentioning, so I'm just gonna skip over them, honestly. Anyways, let's get a suit that I feel fits this challenge. I guess the Funny Poco, that works a-okay. I honestly don't know if any of the suits really fit being not fast. I don't know. I'm just gonna pick that one anyways. Anyways, now on to World 2, starting with Oregano Desert. Oregano Desert starts out pretty simple, honestly, and there aren't actually that many Mach blocks in the entire level. But there are these little annoying clouds, which you probably should just take out the little... I don't even know what these guys are, they're just like cheese guys. But you have to take out these cheese guys to get rid of them, and I recommend doing that because they can cause an issue later on. Though then again, Oregano Desert has one of the least strict pizza times anyways, so it's really optional, it just depends on what you want to do. I'd recommend taking them out, it just makes it a little bit easier for yourself. And here's the first and one of the only places in the level where you actually have to Mach run. Unfortunately, there are so many Mach blocks just everywhere, and they just cause almost every single one. Not every single one, there are a few that are caused by movement or some other type of hazard. But yeah, there's really only a very few amount that aren't caused by Mach blocks. And here's the only other place in the level where you have to Mach run. And it's right here to break this final metal block. Wait, I forgot others, hold up. But actually no, I forgot 2 extra Mach blocks that you have to break. And it's actually a very, very kind of difficult section, unfortunately. And that is the UFO section. Now, what makes the UFO so difficult exactly? Well, it happens to be these kind of annoying cows that kick you, along with just it being kind of hard to hit the metal blocks in general. Now, there's only 2 metal blocks to the entire UFO, luckily, but it's still kind of annoying to hit them just because you have to jump over the cows at just the right time to not bonk into the wall and not hit the ground. There we go, we got rid of both of them. It's kind of difficult to do that, but it's not too bad. So anyways, with that, there's actually not much to say about, Oregano Desert, so let's move on to the next level, I suppose. Anyways, on to Wasteyard. Anyways, Wasteyard starts out fairly easy, and in fact, we actually have another way to gain some good speed, and that's on these little dead bodies. I guess they're not little dead bodies, they're bigger than Pepino. Who knows how big Pepino is, honestly. Wasteyard actually doesn't pose that many issues for most of the level, and in fact only has 2 metal boxes in it, surprisingly. There's one right here. There's an enemy right here as well that has no purpose in this video, but I'm going to mention it anyways because why not. And there also happens to be one right here as well. But that's it basically for the entire level. After that, there's really no more metal blocks, and that makes the level much more enjoyable, I suppose. Or I guess, I don't know if it makes it more enjoyable, but it makes it relieving that there's no more metal blocks. But anyways, yeah, there's not much else to say, but I guess the pizza time is kind of interesting, so I suppose I'll go over and mention that. Oh, I forgot about this block, whoops. I guess there is one extra block I forgot to mention, and it's this guy. But yeah, after that, there really aren't any more metal blocks. And yeah, come to think of it, pizza time really isn't that interesting, but there are some dead bodies you can ride and do some of the only decently high Mach launches that you can do in the entire game. Interestingly, you can do Mach launches without Mach running, which is kind of weird, but interesting at the same time. I suppose I can show that off really quickly. You can do one right there, and it doesn't really do a whole lot, but it does kind of save a little bit of time right here. It's just kind of swag in the end. I mean, that's all it really does, but who doesn't love swag points? So yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next level, Fun Farm, I suppose. Now, unfortunately, Fun Farm starts off with a Mach block right here, which, I mean, I am starting to wonder again why there's just Mach blocks randomly in places where they don't cause any sort of difficulty. But I'm not really going to question it because that's the game developer's choice. I don't know. But anyways, there also happens to be a Mach block in this room as well. Which, surprisingly, you actually wouldn't be able to continuously hold the shift button. You'd have to press up once. Oh my gosh. But yeah, pretty much, yeah, there's only a couple Mach blocks in this level, but there are a surprising amount compared to most levels in this world. And also, you actually have to get hit by that guy in order to make it up there. Also, this jump right here is actually a little bit trickier than you'd expect to get into, because of how you have to get off the walls. But yeah, other than that, it's not too difficult to actually do most of the things in this level, which is always a change of pace. Yeah, there's really not that much left to mention in Fun Farm, so let's move on to Fast Food Saloon. Fast Food Saloon ends up being one of the more interesting levels in this challenge, actually, which is kind of surprising that it happened twice, because most of the other levels end up changing how interesting they were. But yeah, Fast Food Saloon still is a pretty interesting level in this challenge, because there's a couple of unique tricks that you have to do here. I mean, not super unique, but like, it does have some different difficulties that aren't really present in any other level. One of the difficulties right here that is present is doing this little jump right here, which is kind of tricky to do, but it's not too bad actually. See, I got it there. It's not too bad. Yeah, unfortunately you do have to do a Mach run right here, so yeah, there's that, I suppose. I hate Mach running sometimes, though. Guess I should mention also, if I end up canceling my Mach run on accident, that also counts as a loss for it. Because, I mean, that's ending your Mach run as well. Also, interestingly right here, there's also a time limit challenge here, so I'd recommend grab sliding right here since it's just a little bit faster than whatever this is. Yeah, whatever this nonsense grabbing is, honestly, I don't even know what to call it. Yeah, it's pretty easy to do once you get the hang of it, but it takes some time in practice to do it. Gotta be pretty fast, honestly. Also, we happen to have this weenie mount, which is actually very fast, and it doesn't end up helping at all due to its speed. Unfortunately, at least. The only speed you can rely on is your own speed. Also, for the reference, this guy is not an issue at all, like, anywhere, assuming you don't actually get hit too much. This is the only somewhat difficult section at all, and even then it's not that bad, honestly. Like, he just sucks. He's never gonna catch up to me, not in a quadrillion years. And also, obviously, we have to do the swag strat right here, where we just leave the weenie mount right in the door. Because why the heck not? It's just kinda swag. Also, this Jerome right here is actually a little bit more difficult than you'd expect to grab because of the enemies in the way. Who will actually waste your time and get in the way. Which is what they do most of the time in pizza time anyways. Also, if you get hit here, you'll actually end up going back significantly, so don't try to get hit here. That's my advice here for this part, so that way you don't waste too much time. If you're going for lap 2 especially, you do not want to get hit almost at all. You can only really afford getting hit once or twice before you end up getting screwed over. The lap 2s are a bit more difficult, but they're not really worth mentioning for the most part. There's a couple that are worth mentioning though that I will go into later, but for now, yeah, not many of them are mentionable, not even really fast food saloon. Oh yeah, and for the reference, lap 2s are possible on some stages but aren't on others. And also I did happen to actually get all lap 2 portals unlocked without even running, so yeah, it's very much possible to do it even without running. Which I'm actually going to do for future challenges. If I'm not able to actually get lap 2, I will be getting lap 2 for it in case it's needed for some interesting things. Like, I don't know, a P rank challenge without doing something. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, anyways, with that out of the way, Fast Food Saloon is pretty much complete, and I just want to get this final card to be swag. Which I doubt I will be able to get it, but whatever. There's always a chance that it could happen. There we go. Beautiful. Anyways, let's move on to floor 3, I suppose. Anyways, now on to Crust Cove. Also, this is the first level that actually has boost pads, but they're not actually useful right now in this level, so we'll just try to avoid them where we can, but we're not going to go ultra hardcore into going into this. This isn't a super duper serious challenge, but it is a challenge nonetheless that I'm going to be completing, so I'm going to try to dash as little as possible. And also, notably, this is one of the few top ends that you actually cannot get, unfortunately. It's kind of tragic, actually, that you can't get this one top end, because the piranhas will just hit you up. You can't grab dash your way out of that one, unfortunately. And also, this is the one exception to the shift rule, because here's the thing. This is not running at all. I don't think you can make a good argument for this being running unless you're just doing a button methodology. And yeah, this isn't really running, actually. Unfortunately, right here, though, you do have to run to break this Mach block, which is kind of tragic, but oh well. But yeah, that's the only exception to the shift rule, and that's pretty much it, honestly. We still do need to be careful not to accidentally, like, Mach run after it, though, so that is something we do have to worry about. This is probably the most difficult section not to accidentally Mach roll, but then even then, it's not that difficult, honestly. Besides accidentally Mach running by holding shift for too long after getting transformed back into Pepino, there's not really that many issues in this level, so let's move on to the next one, I suppose. Anyways, now on to Gnome Forest, which is our first Gustavo and Brick level. Now, Gustavo and Brick are actually faster than Pepino because of their spin, and it's actually quite a bit faster, actually. Which is always kind of nice, because it makes Gustavo and Brick levels more fast-paced than any other level in the game, actually. Although they're not really fast-paced, because you can go as slow as you want, really, until pizza time. But that's aside the point. But also, unfortunately, even though I thought at one point maybe Brick did break metal blocks, I don't think he does, actually. I mean, Mach blocks. I don't think Brick actually... I think at one point Brick actually broke metal blocks, but I could be wrong, but I swear he did it once, but unfortunately he doesn't, so metal blocks that are still horizontal have to be broken with a Mach dash, unfortunately. Which is always kind of tragic. And in fact, here comes the first Mach block in the level. And it's right here, unfortunately. There are actually not that many Mach blocks in this level, fortunately enough, though, but it is kind of sad that it does happen. Also, yeah, these Mach dash pads are technically unavoidable. So yeah, we'll put that there, I guess. I mean, that one isn't, but I'm not counting them towards dashes, so I'm not really trying to avoid them too much, but I'll avoid ones that are very easy to avoid, but yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. Also, this combo dead spot is just barely possible to do without running, which is kind of funny, come to think of it. We have to break this block here, obviously. And if I would have hit that tomato, it would have kept the combo. But it's kind of a bit harder when you're spinning the entire time. Yeah, there's that, I suppose. In fact, Gustavo's spin is actually just as fast as his Mach dash, which is kind of interesting to think about. Or just barely as fast. It's really close to being the same speed, so Gustavo and Brick are not slowed down in the slightest. But yeah, after this long discussion about Gustavo and Brick, I think we can move on to the next level, since there's not really any issues in pizza time either, which is fortunate as well. Anyways, now on to golf. Now, what I would recommend if you're just trying to save time is just to go for the speedrun strats, honestly. Minus the running, obviously. Because that just ends up being faster in the long run anyways. That's what I'm going to go for anyways. And I'm going to show you guys a cool trick that you can do even without running. But we'll have to get there eventually. But for now, we're just going to go skip all the top ends here except for the first one, I suppose. Also, interestingly right here, you don't need a Mach dash to break that block, which is always kind of convenient when that happens. But yeah, you don't actually have to break that many Mach blocks. You only have to break one in the entire level with a Mach dash. Mach pads are one of the few ways we can actually avoid hitting Mach blocks, which is always a nice thing, but it's not going to be super duper often when that happens, at least not in the third world. It's more common in the fourth world, though. Now here's the special trick I was mentioning before. Well, first of all, let's go get rid of this guy first of all, because he's going to get in the way. Gotta bounce off of this guy. Or just do a really precise grab dash. I'd recommend bouncing off that guy first instead. Then, have this guy face yourself to the right and place this guy right here. Then run for your life. Get to the other side. And if you just barely do it, you can just basically skip one half of the entire escape sequence, which is always kind of nice. I mean, who doesn't love skipping half of the escape sequence? Without even a glitch, actually. That's just how the game works, honestly. Gotta love speedrun exploits, honestly. Saves me so much time. It's a trick even I can do, so you know it's very easy. Yeah, but without that out of the way, there's not much else to say about golf, so let's move on to the next level. Anyways, now on Deep Dish 9. And guess what? Deep Dish 9 is the only level in the entire game where you don't need a Mach dash at all. With no technicalities whatsoever, which is always awesome. Like, there's not a single metal block that we have to break that we can't break with something else, which is always amazing. So yeah, it's one of the only levels you can beat without a Mach dash, which is very interesting. That doesn't mean it's going to be the easiest level in the world, though. But it's not super duper difficult, things aside either, so that's always kind of nice. Kind of a refresher, in a way, but not really at the same time. It's actually not possible to P-rank this level, unfortunately, even though it's one of the only levels you can do without Mach dashing, because the secrets require Mach dashes, unfortunately. Kinda tragic, but that's how it is. No matter how hard we try, we can never avoid a Mach dash. We also can't avoid hitting that wall for some weird reason. Unfortunately, there really isn't much to say about Deep Dish 9, so I'm gonna move on to the next level. But I guess that's what happens when there are no Mach dashes in the level, and there's no, like, very difficult way to avoid any of them, because you just use the rocket, and you go into a metal block if it's there. Which actually, I don't believe there's any metal blocks in this level. I guess that's what happens. If there's no metal blocks, you don't have to dash in almost every single level in the game. So that's just how it is. We're gonna be P-ranking the noise because why not? It's easy if you just hug this wall the entire time, and just watch the noise do whatever the heck he's doing down there, honestly. The more you spam X, the easier it is. It's not difficult, trust me. And since I'm the master of spamming X right now, I'm surprised I didn't get hit there, honestly. But I mean, I'm not complaining. The noise will only do each of its attacks twice, and the only attack that can actually hit you if you're playing well enough is the balloon attack. But even then, the balloon attack is like one of the easiest attacks to dodge, so it's not that difficult. Yeah, this is my easy P ranking the noise guide. Works every time. I can also P rank the noise normally, but I don't usually do that since this is just way too easy. It's like a free win. And who doesn't love free wins, honestly? Also, that noise guy is just gonna get destroyed in a second. Rip. Also, you cannot stun him while he's doing that, because he'll just end up blowing up again, just as a fun reminder. It's really weird. I thought it would actually work, and then it didn't. Just something to let you know, I guess. And you can wait as long as you want, so... I mean, I might as well let another guy spawn, I suppose. And an easy P rank. And that's my P ranking tutorial for the noise. It's super easy and anybody can do it. Assuming RNG goes your way, I suppose, because those bombs are the only thing that are really going to stop you. Actually, I don't think the noise is RNG too much, minus his different attacks. But yeah, there's that, I suppose. Honestly, at this point, I find Pepperman harder to P rank. And that's only because of, like, the 1,000 different things going on at once. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Anyways, let's move on to floor 4 after this slight detour. Now on to the Pig City, the only other Gustavo and Brick level. Now, the Pig City is actually kind of interesting, come to think of it. Definitely one of the more interesting levels in this challenge. Actually, you don't want to go in this taxi because of these pig cops, which will catch you. And you have to Mach run to kill them, unfortunately. So you gotta be kind of careful. So yeah, just avoid these 2 taxis so that way you have less Mach runs in this challenge. And also make sure to take out every single one of these guys because somehow they managed to be the most annoying thing in the entire universe. Also, you might have noticed that I ended up doing a Mach run there, kind of. I did not press the Mach run button there. That's just kind of a byproduct of the ramp. It's really weird. I'll explain that a little bit more in the next level though, since it's more relevant there for saving some Mach runs. Very, very weird though. Also, you want to grab slide right there to avoid these pig cops because they also cause issues. Yeah, you have to Mach run to get to this guy. There's no way to do anything about that, unfortunately. So yeah, that's an extra Mach run added to the counter, unfortunately. Luckily, Gustavo and Brick have no Mach running required, which is always awesome. I skipped that taxi. I probably should go after it, honestly. I skipped most of the top-ins that I would have needed. But I am doing every level, so there's that. Don't forget to not skip the taxis. It's a very important step, honestly. I don't know why there's even a Mach panel right there. What's the point of that one? But as I said, I'm not going super hardcore, so I'm not going to try to avoid them. And there's some useful techniques you can use with them anyways, so... You'll see what I mean in the next level, but for now... We're just going to be spinning our way through this entire level, basically. I guess there isn't much else to say about the Pig City, but yeah, that's it, I guess. It's kind of interesting that you have to avoid the cops and you can't go into the 2 taxis, but yeah, other than that, there's not much else to say here, so let's move on to the next one. Anyways, on to Peppy Factory, actually, come to think of it. Peppy Factory is the only other vertical level in the game, but unlike last time, you go up before pizza time, so time is not really an issue. But that's not the main issue in this level, unfortunately. And I'll get into it in just a second. Oh yeah, first of all right here, you need to grab this guy and go right here. And then bounce off of him. So that way you can actually get up here. Now normally you would just fall into this pit if you just decided to go with this. But if you jump, and if you need to, maybe turn around, because turning around also makes it extend a bit longer sometimes. It's kind of weird. But you just jump a couple times, it's a little bit trickier than you think. You can actually get through that without technically pressing shift. I mean, if that's a Mach dash to you, that can be a Mach dash to you, but it's really up to the people to decide what they want in the end, honestly. I just make the definitions for myself, and that's what I go for. It's up to you to decide how many Mach dashes I really did in the end, honestly. But yeah, we use that several times throughout this level, and it ends up being pretty useful. Right here, you can actually just turn around instead of jumping as well. Sometimes. Wait, why is it different than last time? Oh, no, it's not. You just gotta be kind of precise with your turnaround. It's really weird, honestly. Unfortunately, right here, you do need a Mach run, so yeah, there's that. But luckily up here, we don't have to do another Mach run. Also, I didn't actually expect to do that trick first try right there. It's not actually super difficult to pull it off, but I just didn't expect that. Also, for reference, I'm actually doing pretty well in time here as well. I'm actually doing pretty good for speed. I didn't actually expect that either. Now, right here, you need to hold Mach run the entire time, and I'll get into why in just a second. But right here, there's several Mach blocks right there you gotta break. And then there's one for Mr. Gustavo here. I mean, not Gustavo, Jerome. I'm sorry, just Jerome is a forgettable name. I don't know. Sorry to any Jeromes who watch my videos, but it is a forgettable name, unfortunately. Even though it's like the least common name or something like that. But yeah, after this, there's actually no more Mach runs. I find it kind of interesting that you can actually save some, I guess, shift presses or Mach runs by just using the booster panels. It's kind of neat. And it's kind of one of the main things that makes the challenge interesting. Luckily, this isn't the last level we get to use it in, but for now, there's no more Mach runs in this level, so let's move on to the next one. Anyways, now on to the next level. This level, it was a nightmare in the no wall runs challenge because of the pipes. But in this challenge, the pipes are actually a little bit useful, but only in one little segment, unfortunately. But luckily, this time they are not as much of an issue, which is always a nice thing to have. There's this first part that's a little bit tricky to actually get on here without falling into the water, but it's not too bad, all things considered. But then right here is the only kind of tricky part, where you have to jump at just the right time to actually hit this block, which actually isn't too difficult, fortunately enough. So if I just go back through this really quick. It's trickier than you think, honestly, but it's not too bad. Once you get past it, the level's free. There we go. Finally got it. Yeah, this is the only part really in the level where you have to actually Mach run, unfortunately. But you have to actually grab slide right there. Just as a fair note. You cannot just regular run into that. You have to grab slide into a Mach dash, which is required for that one segment, but otherwise, there's not really that many other metal blocks, if any at all, fortunately enough. I suppose a fun fact anyways, just for you guys. You know how I make Pizza Tower content, but I actually don't watch any Pizza Tower content at all, so I just do this all on my own will, and I don't even know what the heck other Pizza Tower content creators do, honestly. Yeah, I don't watch any Pizza Tower content, I just enjoy playing the game, I suppose. That's just how it is, though. I mean, I have obviously watched Pizza Tower videos. That's not something I haven't done, but it's just not something I really do at all, basically. Also, that swag trick was first try, and I can't believe it. It's just a swag trick I do in any run, honestly. If I can do it. Which, I mean, there's literally nothing that can prevent it, because you were forced to get on that thing anyways. The only thing that could remotely stop that is no one direction per level challenge, which is also cancelled by the tutorial. Oh, I forgot to mention one last part that's one of the only parts in the game, but not the only part, where you actually have to Mach run, and it's this part right here. But luckily there's a metal block here, so we technically have to have a Mach run anyways to get there, but you can't get over that little spot without a Mach run, unfortunately, which kinda sucks. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's move on to the next level, Refrigerator, Freezerator. Anyways, on to Refrigerator, Freezerator. Easy first try. It's not even that difficult to say. But unfortunately, the first part is not so easy, because you have to run right here. But after that, there's not a lot of running, actually, in this level that you have to do, which is always a nice thing to have. And most of this level is actually more precise platforming, actually, which is kind of unique for any level, because most of these levels don't have super precise platforming that you have to do. But Refrigerator, Freezerator is just a little bit different, honestly. It's just made a little bit different than the rest of the levels, so that's why you gotta be precise with the platforming. Especially during pizza time. It also has one of the most difficult lap 2s, actually, come to think of it as well. But that's because of a different reason, which I'll get into later. I'm actually going to do the lap 2 for this level, since it's actually very interesting to do. Don't kill this enemy also, by the way, because if you kill him, you will end up not being able to get up there. And that's never a good thing. Also, right here, what you need to do is you need to kill this enemy first, because I don't know. And then you need to turn around at just the right time. Just hold turn around and then hit that block. And you don't even have to do a Mach run. And it's kind of beautiful, honestly. It helps save plenty of time. Also, I don't know why I do that movement, but it's just kind of cool, honestly. And I think it does save a little bit of time. I could be very wrong, though. It's definitely not faster than regular wall climbing, though. Unless again, I'm wrong for some reason. Also, make sure to grab slide right here, because otherwise you won't be able to actually get past that pit. Also, as a reference, falling in any of those pits during pizza time will make it way, way, way more difficult to do lap 2. Also, there happens to be another metal box right there, unfortunately. Alright, now we have Pepper Pizza Pepino, who is actually very helpful for the first lap, because it's less easy to fall into the pits, which, if we fall into the pits, we are probably gonna be losing this run, unfortunately, unless it's the very end. Now what you need to do is you need to break as many blocks as possible, so that way there's as much space for a regular Pepino to get through in lap 2. I'd recommend just kind of speeding through this first part, though, since you don't get much time saved, but if you do happen to break these blocks, then that's always a bonus. Although those blocks usually won't open up enough space for Pepino anyways. Also, this happens to be a little bit faster than a grab dash, I do believe. I could be very wrong, though, honestly. Sometimes I'm incorrect, and a lot of times that happens to be the case. Make sure to have those both open so that way there's more space and less time for you to waste in lap 2. Because you want a clear run if possible, in case Pizza Face does spawn. Because you can't actually outrun Pizza Face without running, and that's kind of funny. Because you'd expect Pizza Face to be very, very fast, but he's not faster than Pepino's grab dash. And in open areas, it's very easy to avoid him, assuming there's not a bunch of enemies in the way. Also, this, for reference, does waste a lot more time in lap 2, mind you. Make sure to hit the top area, so that way you don't actually fall down. Because it's one of the worst time saves you can have. Right there is also very bad if you fall down, as well. And now on to lap 2 here. And you have to play it quite a bit differently than the previous lap. Which means you gotta be fast, and you also have to kill all the enemies in your way if you can. Go up this path since it's slightly faster than just going around. It's a little bit precise to get in there, but it's not too bad. Then hug the left wall, and then go on the right wall, and then to the left, and then to the right again. Keep your velocity. And then you just gotta do some normal wall climbs, and if you fall off, that kinda sucks. Just avoid this dash panel here, and instead just do a grab slide right there. I'm going for an S rank as well if I can. Don't think a P rank's possible because of how the different layouts are designed for the secrets. Almost none of the secrets are possible to do P rank for, because like a lot of the secrets just have metal boxes everywhere. As you can see, there's not a lot of time remaining. This is one of the more difficult jumps to get. You have to be very precise with that one. Or not super precise, but somewhat precise. And then you gotta jump over this. And if these enemies knock you down, you've lost a lot more time as well. This part will just waste you time because you have to grab all of these enemies in your way because they just happen to be there. Don't fall in that pit again, as I said before, because that will waste you a ton of time. And yeah, with this, we are pretty much free. It's a little bit more difficult than it looks, actually, to get through here. I've just practiced this level quite a bit, honestly. Or not practiced it too much, but like, I played this game enough to know what I'm doing. This is definitely a challenge that anybody can do, honestly, but it's still a little bit difficult, honestly. A good beginner challenge, if I say so myself. Yeah, with that, we got a S rank, which is always awesome. Maybe a P rank is possible, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't gone through all the secrets to full depths, because I'm not actually worried about that too much. But with that, we got a beautiful S rank. And we happen to have almost all the treasures, I do believe. So anyways, let's get up to Mr. Stick here, and let's do Fake Pepino. Yeah, also as you can see right here, we have just completely left him in the dust. I could have also used this strategy a bit in the no wall runs challenge, actually, come to think of it. Pretty easy to grab the walls though, come to think of it as well, so it is kind of difficult. But it's definitely not too terrible, and you can cancel your momentum like that pretty quickly. Also, sorry for, like, all my voice, like, changing, like, a little bit louder, quieter, or, like, more distant. Because I don't really have the ability to stay in the same place for a long time, especially since I don't actually have a desktop or anything. Just say that. So I just kind of sit wherever I can. Nowhere to put my computer, so I just kind of sit there. But I guess that's just a life lesson thing. Oh well. At least it's not too bad. One day I'll eventually have something to do or somewhere to put my computer, but for now I don't have the space or the money to buy anything. And Snotty still happens to be alive. Yeah, anyways, let's move on to the next level, which happens to be Pizza Scare. And I finally don't mess that up for once. And on a small side note, it is a little bit difficult to actually make that jump, but not that bad. It's probably the most difficult jump in the entirety of the tower. Like, inside of it. Anyways, Pizza Scare is actually surprisingly easy, all things considered. But you do have to Mach run right there, unfortunately, as sad as that is. But you also have to run right here as well. I gotta remember where I have to run exactly. And also, since there's another metal block I do believe I have to break over here. No, there actually isn't. Oh well, it's not too big of a deal. It's still one Mach run, technically. But yeah, right here, you also have to do a Mach run. Because you have to break that metal block. And also you have to break a metal block right there, unfortunately. It kinda sucks how many metal blocks there are in Pizza Scare. But luckily, there's not as many after that little section there, which is also kinda nice. I wonder how many, if you guys can hear the, like, rapid clicking of my X button. Probably destroyed after this, honestly. Well, then again, this computer happens to be somewhat durable somehow. Not like I've dropped it at all, but, like, not broken or anything, really. Like, I need to stop getting on random side tangents. That's not what this video's about. It's about me beating this game with as little Mach runs as possible. Not about me telling my life stories about my computer and stuff like that. Now's not the time, me. Also, be aware of getting hit by that, because it'll waste you quite a bit of time. Although time is not really of the essence anywhere in this game, basically. Unless you're actually going for a speedrun of this kind of, like, challenge, which is kind of weird in the first place. It'd also be very hard to enforce everything here too, because common rules that would be hard to agree upon. I don't know actually how to do the alternate strategy for this level for speedrunning, so oh well. It would save quite a bit of time though if I could figure out how to do it, but it's also very, very difficult to do apparently. For like the main strategy where you're going Mach 4. But for this one where you just bring someone up, I don't know how to do that exactly for some reason. I can't actually do it. Also, we love this weird grab glitch. Isn't it awesome? It does absolutely nothing to help us, but it's just weird as heck. And I love it, honestly, for that reason. The invisible enemy glitch is what I'm going to call it, honestly. Someone's probably already discovered it, though, so it probably actually has a name. Kinda tragic how I never get to name anything. But if I do, the invisible enemy glitch it is. So fun fact, you can just spam grab the wall and you'll grab these guys every time. So if you're struggling with your P rank, just do that. And voila, look at that. Beautiful, you don't have to worry about losing your combo at all. And I'm not even focusing on my combo for this run, basically. Although I've been keeping it high during the beginning levels, because that's just kind of a fun thing to do. Also, Jerome is a bit more difficult to get than normal, because you gotta do a kind of blind jump, and you can't actually just outspeed to get over there. There we go. And with that, Pizza Scare is completed, and it's not even that bad, honestly. So let's move on to the next level. Don't make a sound. Anyways, on to Don't Make a Sound like I said before. Now, unfortunately, this time I'm not going to do the funny joke where I didn't say anything at all because it's called Don't Make a Sound. I know that was funny last time, but I'm not going to overuse the joke more than like a couple times, probably, throughout challenge videos and the such. It was fun, but I'm not going to overuse a joke as I said before. More novel if I use it once. Also, for you people who still didn't get it, yes, that was actually a joke, and I didn't actually have a microphone glitch or anything like that. Now, these top-end monsters, just like Pizza Face, are rather slow, so you can just outrun them very easily. I love how everything in this game is actually slower than Pepino, even though Pepino's not even running. It's kind of funny to think about. The only thing Pepino cannot outrun is time. Also, you can just go through this little area to avoid that Mach block if you want to. Also, for the reference, you can also actually outrun the pizza monsters this time, unlike last time for the previous challenge, because you're actually fast enough to actually outrun them without accidentally grabbing into walls and the such. Well, I mean, you can accidentally grab onto walls because it's 100% fine in this challenge. Now here's a weird little part of the level, which I'll get into in just a second, because it requires a little bit of setup, not too much though, all things considered. Go over here, super taunt this guy so that way they don't cause issues, take out these two guys, and then, in order to save yourself a Mach dash, if I can get up here, you gotta do a jump like that, and we can get saved one Mach dash, which actually that wasn't too bad, all things considered. But right here you do need to do a Mach dash to break this Mach block as well, unfortunately. All things considered, outrunning the monsters isn't all that bad, all things considered. Also, this happens to be a little bit of a tricky part, and you have to be a little bit precise to actually get past it. But it's not too bad, all things considered. But yeah, outrunning monsters is easier in no running than it is in no wall running. Which is kind of weird, come to think about it. And yeah, you can even outrun this top-end monster, surprisingly enough. It just turns out that Pepino doesn't need to run to be fast, and that's just a fact, basically. It's also a very weird thing. Also, as another fun fact, I've never had the Oktoberfest green ever pop up, because I never get hit by the monsters, and I don't even know how rare it is, honestly. And I've gotten hit by them several times in the beginning, but after that, I just never get hit by them ever again. That's just kind of how it is. Even when I did it for the no wall running challenge, I got hit quite a few times. I just didn't show it because there's not really many places I can actually show that many mistakes for my videos, because people are just going to lose interest too quickly. It's kind of a tragedy, honestly. So grabbing Jerome there is a bit risky because of the monsters. And now we're introduced to the gun. By far the worst power-up in the entire game for this challenge. Because we can't grab dash anymore, so we can't even run. I mean, not even run. I mean, we still can't run, obviously. We're not able to do that, but we can't actually grab dash. And we can't even grab slide at all, either. It's not too bad, all things considered, in this level, though, luckily. But it gets worse in the next level. Like, a lot worse. And so, we actually have less time than you'd think on pizza time for this level, surprisingly. But it also comes with another far worse thing with it. Which, honestly, I probably could have used it in no wall runs, actually. And it's the fact that you can't actually wall run with this without having actual running. And that's kind of tragic, honestly. And unfortunately, without being able to wall climb, it's going to actually cause some issues. And it's going to make more runs than you'd actually think should be there. So yeah, being slow is not the best thing. Luckily, we have a lot of offense, so we can actually still take out the enemies, since we don't have to outrun them. But it's still quite a bit of an issue, honestly. Anyways, let's move on to the next level, which is probably the most strict lap 2 in the entire game. That's actually possible. War.
Anyways, you want to shoot as little as possible, but you also want to tactically take out enemies that are going to be more annoying in the longer run. Like right here, you actually have to run, unfortunately, so might as well grab onto that wall and hopefully not hit the walls at all. Ignore the first top-in because it's going to waste you more time in lap 1 anyways, so just ignore it. You'll save more time if you get it in lap 2 anyways. Press down right there when you're not in the air, because if you do it in the air, you're going to waste a little bit of time, unfortunately. Right here, just be on this rocket and get off of it right there. And if you can do it precise enough, you can actually get Jerome pretty quickly in over 30 seconds left on the timer. Shoot that thing right there because you're going to need all the time you can get. You can miss one in lap 1, but it's really not worth it because it's quicker to take it out in lap 1 than lap 2. Shoot all of these enemies, and then you have to wall run right here, unfortunately, to actually get past it. And then right here, you also have to run as well. It's also kind of unfortunate. There's a lot of runs that you have to do because of walls in lap 1, unfortunately, but there's actually 0 in lap 2 because everything's cleared out already. Also, I'd recommend shooting any of these bomber guys because they waste a lot more time as well. Also, this guy's probably worth shooting as well. What the heck hit me? Anyways, yeah, shooting some of these guys that are in really tight corners is probably a good idea. But it's not the best thing to do it too much. Shoot this guy as well, and then when you're over here, shoot these guys, because they will waste you more time if you get hit by them, which you're most likely to get hit by them anyways. I don't even know what I was doing there, honestly, but that was pretty dang quick. Then this is mostly a waiting game right here, unfortunately, so you have to shoot down right here. Press down so that way you waste less time as you go through this, because you're going to go faster like this than if you just walked. In lap 2, it's also just a bit faster, because Mach running is ever so slightly faster, unfortunately. Or I guess fortunately, I guess. Now, just this part is pretty simple, just go to the right. Don't worry about hitting enemies, because even if they shoot you, you're not going to die, which is always nice. Now here, I'd actually recommend shooting the enemies here, because these guys will waste you more time than you think. It's quicker to shoot them than it is to grab dash them, in this area specifically. Right here is the hardest part of the level. We have to run here, jump over this, and then hopefully you don't die. And then you have to do a if I can actually get up here. You can barely get up there if you have that block there, but you do not want to destroy the cheese block, because you need it for lap 2 as well. But it's just barely possible if you leave the cheese block. It's easier if you don't actually kill the little guy there, but if you do, then it's just barely possible. I'm surprised I even got it as quick as I did. But there might not be enough time anyways, because there is basically no time to waste. That was unfortunate. Slide right here as well, because it still saves time. Yeah, that was a bit slow as well, but it's not too bad. I had to get Jerome in lap 1 because it's a little bit quicker. Yeah, there's not a lot of time left here, all things considered. Don't get hit anytime if you can help it, but sometimes you're gonna get hit anyways because there's not much you can do. I'd shoot all these guys because they're in small corners. And then you gotta run up this wall, unfortunately. But that's it for wall climbs or runs at all, so that's it. So after this, it's lap 2. And lap 2, you get your grab dash back, fortunately enough. And the grab dash makes it much faster, but at the cost of it being a much more strict lap as well. Because you have to avoid as many enemies as you can as well that you haven't left over. So you probably left over enemies like this and this. Or actually, the other guy was just taken out because of the Mach dash that I had to do. Do not grab that little rocket there at all, or else you're going to be pretty screwed if you don't get off it quick enough. Because it wastes quite a bit of time. Grab dash right here, and if you can actually grab dash and then turn around immediately, then you're going to save a lot of time. And then being on that rocket is definitely quicker than not being on it, so take it as long as you can. Or as far as you can, I guess. And none of these require any Mach runs, which is also fortunate. Yeah, surprisingly, you can actually get pretty far in this level. It might be possible to do a P rank if you do like perfect precision with everything, but I highly doubt it, because you have to waste a lot of time for each little secret. If you super taunt that guy just at the right time, he won't even shoot, so you will save a little bit of time there as well. I'm sure you'd have to do every single one of these time saves if you're actually going to go for a P rank as well, which I still doubt is possible, because you usually only have like 7 seconds left on the timer at the very end. Right here, you still want to do the same thing as you were doing before. If you get hit, you're pretty screwed sometimes. This is just a hard lap. I'm just telling you this right now. This is not easy to do lap 2 on. You can react to these guys, you can actually save a lot of time. I also forgot they respawn, which is actually kind of convenient for this. I need to jump off this and you gotta go right there, and then you'll save quite a bit of time as well. And now with this, just go as fast as you can, and hopefully you'll make it to the end. There'd have to be around 25 seconds left if you're actually going to go for a P rank, I do believe. Because each of the... Actually, no, each of the secrets would take longer than they usually would because you're not running. And then just do whatever the heck this is, honestly. I don't even know what it is either. Just to save a little bit of extra time. And with that, we barely make it with less than 20 seconds on the clock, honestly. It's honestly pretty difficult to get through that, and you don't want to get hit basically at all. But if you do that, you get a beautiful lap 2, and possibly an S rank if you actually don't lose your combo at all. Anyways, Pizza Face is actually nothing to talk about, unless I actually get a P rank on it, which I doubt. Now let's move on to the Crumbling Tower of Pizza. After, falling through the tower for like a second and a half. Anyways, the Crumbling Tower of Pizza is actually a pretty strict timer, but it's actually not all that bad, honestly, all things considered. You do not want to kill any enemies if you can help it. Well, then again, it's kind of satisfying to kill them anyways. And also, that tomato is not a good enemy to get hit by. It's not anywhere near as strict as lap 2 for war, but it is kind of strict, not gonna lie, so there's that, I suppose. You do not want to shoot that many enemies. Just do the same thing you would kind of do in war. Take out the enemies that will get in your way, but otherwise, yeah. But you're not saving it for lap 2, you're saving it for yourself. Taking out those guys is also worth it since you'll bounce off their heads on accident a lot of the time. And after this, and shooting those Peppy bots, and hopefully not getting hit by those pineapples, they're weird, you'll hopefully have your grab dash back, which is awesome. And no, that's not lag, that's just me thinking for a second what to say. It's kinda hard sometimes, don't get me wrong. Yeah, this is overall not super difficult, and there's actually no Mach launches your dashes at all, unless you count the dash pads for a specific part. Overall, not too bad, honestly, all things considered. And also, yes, we're saving Snotty this time. Right here is the one part where you can actually use the launch pads, but you still have to jump in that small gap, which actually isn't that difficult, fortunately enough. But yeah, with that, you can actually do 0 Mach dashes here, which is kind of awesome, come to think of it. The only other level in the game that has no Mach dashes. I suppose that's pretty much it here for the most part. I still need to see if I even make it in the first place, because I doubt it, honestly. We're only on floor 3. And we still have the golf segment, which wastes a ton of time on its own. Just spam X. Also, yes, you can actually roll by going to a dive. I remember that now. I just grab slide the golf ball here, except for right here, because you gotta get him in somehow. Because grab sliding is just a little bit faster, honestly. And just speed through this part, honestly, because you don't have to worry about the goblin at all, because he's not going to cause issues, because you're faster than anything he's going to do. Yeah, there's almost certainly not enough time. There's still a small chance, though. And I'll take that small chance if I can get it. Yeah, you want to grab right there instead of actually getting hit by the fire, because that'll save you much more time. Just press down right here and you'll save a bit more time because of the speed increase. And then just climb as fast as you can. And it looks like we actually might have enough time, just barely though. Now just hold down, and you've basically won, just like the no wall climbing challenge, which is kind of weird to think that it happened the same way. But you know what, we're not going to take these dash pads, because we can do this ourselves. I think, maybe. I doubt it, though, there's probably not enough time. Just trying to make a bunch of pizza face things get in our way. You think a piece of cardboard can stop a raging Italian man? I doubt it, honestly. And looks like we might have enough time. We just gotta slide here to victory. But instead of regular sliding, we grab slide to victory. Also, we're saving our boy Jerome. I finally remember the name. Let's go. And with that, and 21 seconds left on the clock, you can make it out without even using those dash pads if you really wanted to. And that's pretty much it for the challenge. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like or maybe even subscribing, as it helps out the channel a bit. I also love to hear comments, or things in general. I also have a Discord server if you're interested as well, but for now, that's about it, and I thank you for watching. And here's the true ending, I suppose, since that's what we went for. Oh wait, I missed one? Oh. Well, that's not too big of a deal. Anyways, as a little bonus for watching all the way through, or just skipping to the end, I don't care. Enjoy these little funny parts and bloopers from my video. Anyways, have a good day, and hope to see you all in the next one. Goodbye! Brick broke blocks. Brick breaks Mach blocks. Brick breaks blocks. Say that 3 times fast, honestly. Anyways, with that all out of the way, let's move on to the next level. Refrigerator, refrigerator. Haha, funny. What am I doing? I'm literally not pressing right. What the heck is going on? Input lag is so weird today, even though I'm on the actual keyboard. You know, there's always a lot of questionable choices in any place, honestly. Wait, I'm going into the ranting thing. That's more for like a let's play or something like that. This is not a let's play. This is a challenge video. Get your head together, Xpsupernova. We got work to do. Pizza face, stop wasting my time in the shower. Wait, why are you even in the shower? Isn't water bad for pizza or something? I cannot afford input lag right now. I cannot afford input lag right now, thank you.